Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Coffee Shop Conversations. I'm your host, Majid Magic Salim. We're here with my guest, Chad Davis, the St. Albert Hustler, and we're just going to be, talking about life, ups and downs, trials, tribulations, everything that's kind of gone on, kind of the philosophies of life and everything that, just our day-to-days, and we're just a couple of average Joes having a conversation over Cup of Joe. We're here over at the Tim Hortons in St. Albert. Cheers, buddy. Right on. So, we're just going to kind of pretend as if the camera's not even on. Just kind of chit-chat and talk about life. And so tell me a little bit about you, just so that, the viewers and listeners can kind of get to know you a little bit as well.
Sounds good. Chad Davis. I've kind of been through, a lot of ups and downs.
Talk up a little bit.
Sorry. Chad Davis, and, I've been through quite a few obstacles in my life, and, a lot of people say that I shouldn't be where I am. I should rather be dead or in jail or, giving up or, you know what I mean? But I never give up, and there's quite a bit to my story, so I don't know where to really start, but...
No worries, man. Let's kind of start with, you and I, we kind of work together. We've been in sales for most of our adult lives, and kind of talk a little bit about that. What's your experience been, being in sales?
Well, being in sales, sales is just, the beginning of a sales job is being able to be confident and getting to know people, and right. I feel like, a lot of people think that, being in sales, you need to be tricky and know how to word your words and just kind of, be there to, hustle people, which
right.
I don't really think that's what it is. Everybody needs to buy stuff. I'm a consumer. You're a consumer.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty much a lay down if someone treats me good, right? So I think
most salespeople are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I'm willing to pay anything if I see value in it, and I feel like you're my friend, right? So I think one of the main things is just getting. If you want to help somebody, if you want to, help somebody in their purchase, especially me being in car sales, if it's a bigger purchase, people walk in and have a bad stigma about people in the car industry, and I genuinely want to help people.
Okay.
I heard one time if you look at somebody, you approach them, you look at them like you genuinely want to help them, and I like these people,
right?
You're gonna help them out, right? So
absolutely.
It's just there's a lot of ups and downs, and you have obstacles in your life, and personal life, and things will affect you, and you have it on your mind at work. But if you can find a way to kind of leave that with work outside of work, or work in work, sorry, and then your home life at home, right? And if you can kind of find a way to separate that with the moment you walk through those doors, and you're just focused solely on helping people out and getting, working hard to achieve incredible things, you're gonna do well, right? So I don't know, I've had really good times, and I've had really bad times in the car industry and in sales and what we used to do, doing direct marketing and you know what I mean. I actually learned a lot from that job, how to hold a conversation proper and approach people and make them feel comfortable. You have a good 5 seconds.
Right.
When you meet somebody and they can feel your energy and see
Absolutely.
if you're genuine and see if you're a real person and stuff like that. And if you truly believe that inside yourself, then you're gonna do good. You're gonna gain friends. You're gonna sell those people's family, their friends, and you're gonna gain customers for life.
100%. I agree with you. Absolutely. I've always said this, and you might remember this too. I always say, in sales, you live a life. Every single day. You're meeting so many different people with so many different personalities, and you're in so many different situations, and you got to be on the ball. And Zig Ziglar always said, it's not your aptitude, it's your attitude that'll determine your altitude, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
what's it kind of like though, because most people, well, not necessarily most people, but there's salary jobs and there's wages, and people will go to work and they don't have to worry necessarily about having to make money, because they're going out to just work and then they
punch a
get paid.
clock and they get paid.
Exactly. So, and you're strictly commission, right?
Strictly commission.
So what's that like? How do you overcome a little bit of that fear of instability, or is there any instability at all?
Well, I've always been the one to kind of embrace fear. You know what I mean? I feel like if I'm scared of something and if I'm nervous and I get that feeling of anxiety, that's me growing as a person, right? You face a lot of different things in your life, and I don't think I would be able to be who I am today and be able to overcome things and grow and just keep doing it and keep making making money, and you know, I still have bad months. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like so, strictly commission. Like, give you an example. Like, I'm not even embarrassed to say this, but last month, I just had a lot of things going on in my personal life. I wasn't able to leave, you know, my personal life outside of work, and got distracted and, you know, frustrated, and you know, I was missing, you know, like the first 3 steps of, like, you know, rapport building, you know what I mean? And just kind of like meeting someone, here's the vehicle, here's the numbers, here's that. I wasn't building any value in who I was, or actually showing that I cared about them.
So there was no like real connection with people there.
Yeah, no real connection at all, right? It's just numbers and on to the next, and like, you know, I found something this month when I'm doing really good. I'm literally walking into people and I'm like, I love this person. Like, I actually really do. Like, these are the nicest people I've ever had, and I have a string of like the best people that I've ever dealt with. But then, you know, last month I'm like, oh man, you know, like why this, why that? I'm getting frustrated, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Like, I feel like I'm wasting my time, and it's all about attitude, right? Just like what you were talking about. I only sold 2 cars last month.
Wow.
I made $600 last month.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
how do you kind of turn that around? Like, you know, excuse me, there's, you know, like, for me, I know when, you know, sales aren't so good that I'm start like re-questioning who I am and what I'm doing with my entire life.
Yeah.
How do you kind of overcome that? How do you pull away from being so much in that rut in order to kind of get out and move ahead and just keep persevering and moving forward?
Well, like, I have a quote here that I live by, and it's something that I actually like really took in this month.
Show it up.
So I actually got this from one of my coworkers, Jerry Joseph, and it's a quote from Wolf of Wall Street. Successful people are convinced that they are masters of their own destiny. They are not creatures of circumstance. They create circumstance, and if the circumstance around them suck, they change them. So, Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street. So, my circumstance.
Shout out to Jordan Belfort, by the way, Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, sir. So, and it kind of came to me at a good time, and it just, you know, I kind of needed to hear that. And I've never been ashamed to, you know, admit what I'm doing. It might be wrong, or, you know, I might not be looking at something, you know, like when you're in the middle of like a storm, you can't see what's going on around you. You can't see why. So I'm able to go to, like, you know, my bosses or people that I look up to, and just kind of get them to gauge what I'm doing wrong. And right there, as you know, like, I was missing, like, you know, gaining friends and showing people that I'm there to, like, help them, right? And even though I am and I have that there, but I have bad energy. So I know I had to change that. You know, I spent a little bit more time and slowed things down, and just show people that I'm really there to help you, right? So
absolutely. So if you take yourself kind of out of the equation,
100%,
right, and just
take the emotion out of it, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Cool,
so, and you know, this month so far, I'm already at 7.5 vehicles. And
how do you get to a half a vehicle?
Well,
do you cut the front, or do you cut the back?
Nah, you can cut it like
or
long ways,
sideways,
whatever, passenger side, driver's side. Like, no, it's you know, when 2 people get involved in a deal and stuff like that, you just split it with somebody, right? So, in this situation, it was just an old customer of somebody else that had a bad experience with their vehicle and had nothing to do with the sales guy or anything, but he didn't want to deal with that sales guy anymore, so I handled it, and me and my manager, you know, helped him out, put him into a good position. I still went to that sales guy because he's a good person, a real person like me, and I was like, I know this was your customer and everything. I just put the deal with him, you know what I mean? So it's being humble and stuff like that, because I know, like, I probably had a bad feeling about it and stuff like that, but I just always think it's best to do the right thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, karma kind of comes right around to you. You know, you put that out into the universe, and you know, the sales gods will, you know, shine down on you and be able to kind of move you forward from there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy, man. So we've been, you know, I haven't seen you in what, 3.5 years at
Something
least.
like that, yeah.
What's been going on? I know there's a lot of stuff that's been kind of transpiring.
Well,
what's been happening?
Well, I don't know. First of all, like, you know, when I first met you, I was kind of like in a transition of my life where I was going from being in a bad spot in my life, a really bad spot, to kind of trying to figure everything out. And
what do you mean bad spot?
Well, I don't know. Just like I guess I can go back to like how it kind of all began.
Sure,
Might as well. It'll make more sense of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sounds good.
Like I think one of the biggest things in sales is being able to persevere in everything, to you know, grow as a person and never give up, and you know what I mean, like find a way, find a solution, you know, not be a complainer, and instead of being a complainer and crying about your situation, is, you know, solving it, finding a way to solve it, and you know what I mean. So I got that a lot from my upbringing and the way way I was raised from my parents and situations I went to. So, you know, like I'll start when I was young, as young as I can remember, like being like 4 or 5 years old. Like we were in a crappy little apartment behind the Save-On Foods in Mayfield area.
Okay, yeah.
So like
I know
really,
where that is. Yeah.
really bad area, right? Like, and then we moved to actually Cambridge West is right behind Jasper Play School, another apartment building.
Okay.
And
In Edmonton, right?
In Edmonton, yeah. And then my whole life we kind of moved up, right? Like I had my mom. I've never met my real dad, and my stepdad, which is my dad. Like he raised me and actually made me who I am today. Well, I made myself, but he was giving me good guidance, right? So, you know, when they met, I was about 1 year old, and my stepsister Jamie was just a couple months younger than me, right? So we kind of grew up as like best friends, kind of, right?
Wow.
And you know, my parents wound up getting married. They actually got married on Halloween, which is coming up soon,
There
right?
you go. How many years?
They were married for say a good 8 years. So you know, then had two more kids. So I have my brothers Eric and then Brandon, and you know they're like my best friends. Like, you know what I mean? So we had a blended family. There's diversity right there, and
For sure.
And they kind of, you know, like it's just, you know, we kept moving up in life, right? So
Right.
we moved from there to Belmead into like a townhome instead of an apartment. And then funny stories, we were renting one place that somebody owned. We lived there for a little while, and then we had to move literally right next door because they sold that place.
Oh my goodness.
So we moved to the place next
Yeah.
door, right? So
Right.
we moved a lot, right? So
And that must have been hard too with, you know, the younger ones as well. And
100%.
how did you kind of fit in with that?
Well, I was the oldest, so I was, you know, there's a lot of stress on me right away. I was trying to be a good example at a young age and stuff like, you know, growing up. And obviously, when having 3 brothers and sister, we're always fighting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we used to watch the Power Rangers back in the day, and
Yeah.
we were playing with my sister and whatever, and I forgot the name of the evil lady or whatever, but we were acting like she was her. So me and my brothers like tied her up to an ironing board. And,
Oh my goodness.
And we're just like, we're playing as kids, you know what I mean?
Right,
But then we kind of just left her there and went outside and played and left her down there for I don't even know how long. But my sister always tells this story when she meets like my girlfriends or whatever. Right?
Yeah,
So,
kind of
but-
cast that little bit of
but
light on you.
yeah, but my dad was always like, you know, teaching us, you know, like to be proper, right? So
Right.
we got banned. My dad came down saying like, hey, you're banned. You know what I mean? Like I was like, okay, cool, we're not grounded. Like, what does banned mean?
What
He's
does
like,
banned mean?
well, you can never watch it again. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh no.
So it's just like, we're
And
just
back
like,
in the
what?
day, folks, like back in the day, Power Rangers was the thing, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So, like, you know, little things like that. Like, you know, we had a good family. You know what I mean? And I really truly believe that when someone is growing up, the way they turn out all affects on how they're raised. And if you're raised with morals, and if you're raised, you know, proper. Like literally, my dad would tell me, like I could come home and I could have beat somebody up at school, but if I was defending somebody else and I told them the truth about it, and I was like trying to protect somebody else, and
Yeah.
which I've always looked out for other people in my life. I've just always had that kind of heart, right?
Yeah.
So I would literally get a video game and, you know, I'd be suspended from school, but as a kid, just you have a vacation, right?
Right.
But if I remember one time I made a prank call to Subway, and me and my brothers were like trying to get them to make a sub that was like so long and put everything on it, and
Right.
I recorded it, and we didn't have cell phones, or like we didn't have like technology that we do now, right? I had a cell phone, but I was like 13 years old, and you know how you used to, when you call your own answering machine,
Yeah.
and then you could 3-way it, then it would record on there, so that's what I did.
Oh, goodness,
So my
wow.
dad came home, he listened to it, and he said, Dad, check this out,
Yeah.
and he thought it was, he's laughing. I'm like, oh, that's so funny. My dad's laughing. He's like, ah, here, give me your cell phone.
Right.
And I got grounded for my cell phone for a month. So I learned at a young age to do like the right thing. And the reason why he did that is because I'm wasting somebody's time that's out there trying to grind to make $1 to feed their family.
Right,
And
yeah.
I'm sitting there, you know what I mean? And I kind of took that in, and I kind of, that's one of my things that helped me grow, right?
Yeah,
So,
you betcha.
you know, if I, you know, no matter what, if I'm honest, you know, even if, no matter how bad it is,
Right.
then you gain people's trust. You know what I mean? And there's always a way to work through it. But if you lie about stuff and continue to just, you know, keep lying and lying and lying, it's eventually going to come out. And then those are the kind of people you don't want to associate yourself with in life, right?
Right, yeah.
So, you know, moving forward, right around, I started like at a young age, started working and started delivering papers, getting up at like 5, 6 in the morning, delivering Edmonton Sun. My mom would drive me around.
Yeah.
And I always played soccer since I was like 5 years old, so always like really goal oriented when I was younger.
Right.
And I started playing hockey, which I really wanted to play hockey. Like I think every young boy wants to play hockey,
Pretty
right?
much, yeah.
And especially growing up in Edmonton with the old school Oilers, like Gretzky and stuff like that, just you want to be somebody.
You
right?
idolize them, yeah, for sure.
So, played hockey for 1 year or 2 years. The first year I did really good. I think I was the top goal scorer in the league.
Okay.
And then the next year I played again, and I went from I forget how it goes, but I think I was in Pee-wee, and then I went into or Adam. I was in Adam, and then I went into Pee-wee. But I went like I was always a really aggressive kid and kind of angry and stuff like that. But I was always wanted to be number one. You know what I mean? So, but I always get into a lot of fights on the ice and stuff like that. And when I was younger, right? But I was always doing, and I think if I stuck with it, I probably maybe could have made the NHL or something. I don't know. You never know unless you try, right? But
so what got you out of it?
Money. My parents, like they never made it seem like we were broke. You know what I mean? But they didn't have very much money, man. But they're growing, and we they couldn't afford it. Like, it gets expensive playing hockey. Like, I had to get equipment the first year, then the next year I had to get equipment again because I'm growing.
Because you're growing,
and it's really expensive for the program as it is. And they're like, you're going back to play soccer. It's cheap.
It's cheaper, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Need shin pads, and that's about it, right?
Yeah,
So.
Exactly. So, shortly after that, my mom actually, like when I was 13 years old, I came home one day and I found my mom passed out in the garage in her car. And she gassed herself and actually committed suicide. So,
Wow. Sorry to hear, dude.
Yeah, man. Like I found her and I pulled her out of the car. I didn't know kind of what was going on, but then my dad's dad actually killed himself like that too. And I remember him telling me about it, and I just kind of like clicked in, and I'm just like started like panicking, pulled her out of the car, tried to give her a CPR, and like it was a traumatic situation, right?
No kidding. No kidding, man. That's And how old were you?
13. Yeah. So everything went from me being a good kid, and then everything, had a good family structure and stuff like that. And I remember before that, like I was always like looking at my friends' parents getting divorces, and I'm like, I have a perfect family. I would never know what that'd be like, and then like that happened. You know what I mean? It's like the one person that should love me the most in my life. Like this is how I felt. And she's gone, and not only is she gone, she chose to leave. You know what I mean? But as I grew up, growing older, like I understood more on why she did it. Like she went through a situation, and she was a fighter, and something happened to her back in her past, and the way her dad handled it, he pretty much like made her feel like crap about it, right? And I don't really want to get into details about what it was, but that haunted her. You know what I mean? And like she wanted to kill herself before she got pregnant with me. I was a mistake, and she always called me her angel. Like she had a reason to live. You know what I mean? Like so like I was that she wanted to make sure I was good before she was gone, and then she had 2 more kids, which was my brothers, and she wanted to make sure that we were all okay before she left too, and she killed herself 20 years to the day of whatever happened. You know what I mean? So it was she left. Like even the night before, like I knew kind of I had a feeling, and like she'd gone to a fight with my dad, kicked him out of the house, and just like. You know what I mean? I just kind of knew something was off. She had a bunch of candles lit. I was on the phone with this girl that I met at Rock and Ride back in the day. I don't know if you ever...
No, I'm not from around here, so...
No.
Yeah.
It was just like some dance thing that in Galaxyland, so you could ride and dance and stuff like that.
Oh, I see, okay.
It was whatever. But I was talking to this girl on the phone. I was like, I gotta call you back. And I just went and had a chat with my mom, and like, it's just like, Mom, don't do anything stupid or anything. And she's just all she would say to me is like, I'll always be in your heart. I'll always be in your heart. I was like, Mom, don't be dumb. You know what I mean? So then we went down. I was like, let's watch a movie.
So you think that was kind of like her way of saying goodbye?
100%, right? So I just wanted to forget about it. I was like, no, it's not gonna happen, whatever, right? So like, she took me to school the next morning. I was mad at her because I missed my gym class because I slept in.
Oh, you slept in, and you were mad at her.
I was mad at her because I missed my only class that I liked. It was gym.
Typical teenager.
Yeah. But it just. I don't know.
So how did that change it? What was running through your head, and like what
I
followed
literally didn't even cry. I didn't know how to feel. I just was like
numb.
I didn't know how anything. I didn't cry for like a good I didn't cry through the funeral. I didn't cry through anything. I went to school the next day. Like my dad told me to stay home, and everybody was around and trying to like asking me like, hey, I'm sorry for your loss. To this day I don't tell people like if like say you lost somebody, I won't tell you I'm sorry because it made me angry. You know what I mean? Like it's like, what are you sorry for? Like why are you sorry?
Like so you didn't do it, right?
Yeah, like I'm like, so I always just try and like, I'm careful with that, and I always like my condolences, or like if you need anything, let me know, I'm here for you, kind of thing, right? But I just wanted to be away from it, right? So I kind of went into a dark space and started hanging around like the wrong crowd, and like I've gained some good friends from it, but I don't talk to a lot of those people anymore from that. But doing dumb things, acting out, like I crashed my auntie's. I took it out when I was like 14, and I crashed my auntie's vehicle. Yeah. And got in trouble for that. And then even like 2 or 3 months later, I took out my dad's Suburban and did the same thing. And just started being like rebelling, right? Like I didn't know how to deal with it. My dad, would have talks with me, and I just don't even think he knew how to deal with it. He lost the love of his life. You know what I mean?
So you were just kind of lashing out because you didn't know what else to do.
I don't know, man. Like I didn't know. You know what I mean? So I just started getting lost in that, and like I just came from that and wound up doing something that got me in trouble with the law pretty bad, and I wound up having to go stay with my grandparents, and they lived out of town. They lived out in Onaway, and God bless them. I love them, and they're my mom's parents, and I was always really close to my grandparents. They always loved me unconditionally, no matter what I did, no matter anything. And to this day, my grandma, I love her so much, and I go visit her as much as I can. She's like my best friend. You know what I mean? So
no doubt.
But it was just kind of messed up. I just kept lashing out and did something, and I was on probation for like a year and a half, and I kind of wasn't even allowed to be in the city. Like I was kind of subordinated, like out on an acreage with my grandparents that I got along with, but they're not my age group. I have no friends. I'm not allowed to hang around anybody, and kind of I think that really messed me up, and I started going to see counselors and stuff like that, and everybody's like searching for a problem. But I realized later on in life that it wasn't. I was blaming my mom and this, and I'm this because my mom passed away, and she's not there for me. And I was blaming my circumstances. You know what I mean? But I'm learning on my own. You know what I mean? Like after this thing happened, my dad told me I could never come back. You know what I mean? Like I'm not allowed to be back at home. I'm going to have to go out there and learn the hard way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you need to figure it out for yourself. And I came back years later and thanked him for that, because it actually really changed me at the time. But I don't think I was fully changed at that time. But it
but you need something to kind of push you over the edge, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So how did that change you?
Well, it kind of put me into a situation where I couldn't be at my grandparents' house, and I wanted to be back in the city with all my friends and just be around and whatever. So I was living on my own, and I kind of turned to the wrong side of life again. And further, and I sold drugs for a long time, and I felt like I needed to do it to live. I had nobody else. I felt lonely and blaming everything. Even though I did have a support system, I pushed it away. You know what I mean? And I was with that lifestyle for a while, so continuing to get around the wrong people, and I was making a lot of money, so I just felt like it was right. Like at one point, I was like, I'm making more money than the doctor does, and they went to school. Just had a bad attitude of life, right? Getting in trouble with the law again, and so it just continued. You know what I mean? I don't need to get into details about everything, and it's just I just keep going, and went to a position where I actually moved away from Edmonton just because I don't know, I felt like I needed a change, and I moved out to Windsor, Ontario.
Windsor, no kidding.
Yeah, man. So I moved out there. When I first moved out there, I was like, man, this place is so cool. It's just something different from Edmonton. It was right across from Detroit, where like it's you hear about Detroit your whole life, like growing up, and it's like so like gangster there, and like just crazy city. And it's funny that I lived in that area because like now working at Dodge, I was actually in Windsor where they have the head office for Cryogenic.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The minivan, the caravan actually gets produced there, right? So it's almost like I kept like even before I moved out there, I was in the car industry for a little bit before.
Okay.
And I just, I wasn't taking it seriously at the time, and kind of back and forth and doing the wrong things, and I made myself look dumb, so I just took a step back, right?
Yeah. And sometimes you got to do that though, right? Like
Yeah.
if you don't, if you just keep moving forward in the wrong direction,
Yeah.
it's not going to get you anywhere you need to go, right? So you got to kind of pull back a little bit and take a look at the full picture.
Yeah.
You know, get yourself out of the frame kind of thing, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. Right on, go ahead.
It's yeah, for sure. So like, you know, like doing that, moving out there, I moved out there with one friend, and you know, I met a bunch of other people, and as if anybody knows Windsor is a very broke town, right? Like it's nice. It's lots of cool things about it, but even Detroit, like it's when I went there, like Detroit went bankrupt. It was a bankrupt city. It was crazy, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like I think Windsor had the highest unemployment rate of all of Canada. So any job, I started working at this place called the Boom Boom Room.
Okay.
Yeah, just doing like promotions and stuff like that.
All right.
It was pretty good, but I was making like $8 an hour. Like,
Yeah.
how do you live? How do you live off that, right? So, I actually went homeless out there. So,
Really?
yeah, man.
Wow. Tell me about that experience.
It's crazy. Like, got into it with the guy that I was living with. Didn't really have anywhere to go, and you know, like if I've kind of been in those situations before in Edmonton, but I always had someone's like somewhere to go, a friend or something like that. I knew nobody.
Right.
So here I am, 3,000 miles away, 3,000 kilometers away from anybody I know.
Right.
No money, nothing. Like it's crazy, and I'm just like, man, you know what I mean? Like it's getting closer to winter. It's raining out. Like it's
Like, what are you gonna do?
what am I gonna do? I'm walking around like, you know, like like, man, I'm just trying to find a way to like survive. You know what I mean? And like talking with like other people that are like homeless and stuff like that, seeing like what they're doing and stuff like, you know what I mean? Like what's going on, and a lot of people have drug addictions and stuff like that, right? So naturally, what I did my whole life, and I got back into selling drugs again because I needed to live.
You just kind of fell back on what you knew, right?
What I knew exactly, right? So I just, you know, I never wanted to like admit that I was wrong and come back home and whatever. I wasn't thinking straight. You know what I mean? And like it's you know, like it's what I had. So like I got a lot of that sales experience from having to live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like it's just me having to make it happen.
Right.
So you know, I did that for a little while, and you know, met some people and started doing really well, and next thing you know, I got busted.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So I wound up doing almost a year in jail out there, and it was a even crazier experience because I did not know anybody from there. There's people from Detroit in there, from crossing the border, people from Toronto.
Yeah.
It was a really unique situation, and I found a way to survive. You know what I mean? And I found a way to make it through it. I came out, and what did I do? I went back to doing the same things. You know what I mean? I did it at a more high level, more careful, and I thought, okay, cool, this is whatever. But I took it to a whole new level that I made a lot of money doing. You know what I mean? But I have a good heart, and it hurt me every single day, like that I'm contributing to the world, and I'm hurting people. You know what I mean? Like whether someone else is gonna do it or not, like I don't want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? So it just really started. I had people like I've seen people's lives going down, and I don't want to damage people. Like I just want to help them, right? So you know, I even had one lady like offer me her kid, and that's one of the breaking points that I had. Like, are you kidding me? Like this is that bad, you know? So I don't know. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Like, of course, who wouldn't like the money or whatever? I was doing it to survive, and then it's got to a point where I was being excessive and spending way too much money, and not like I don't know. I was lost. I didn't feel like I was myself.
Right.
I had a girlfriend when I was out there. She lived in Detroit, and her mom lived in what's it called, Windsor.
Right.
So she was Muslim. She's a Yemeni girl, and she was just really telling me every single day, like, this is not you. You're a better person than this. You got to change. You got to go to school. Like, you know, do something better with your life. And it always got to me, right? And I just started looking around there and seeing what I could do. And then it just kind of, you know, like I realized I started talking with my brother. And at this point, my brother Brandon, he's my youngest brother, and he got into the car industry too when he was 18. And at this point, he wrote me, he wrote me a letter actually when I was in jail. Like he's like, man, I really want you to come home. I forgot to tell you guys something. Like when I did that, when I left, I just up and left, and I kind of left everybody behind me, and my younger brothers that I love so much. Like, you know, I left them behind. I left them not knowing what to do, and they're younger than me, and I should be there for them to like look up to. And I really let my brother Brandon and Eric down. Like it took a long time to rebuild that relationship, and I just kind of left them, you know, like with nothing.
Right,
and no answers or nothing. And I know both of them like didn't want to be anything like me. You know what I mean? And I know my brother's doing very well for himself now. He's worked his way up to a general sales manager position, and I'm super proud of my brother, man.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? So
Good
like,
on him. Yeah.
So you know, I've always learned, even when me and you work together, like, you know, what's your why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I like your why is like, for me, it's like, why are you doing what you're doing?
Right.
Why do you get up every morning? Why do you work as hard as you do? Why do you sacrifice and work 12, 14 hours a day? What are you working for? I feel like if you don't have that why and you don't have that purpose, you're not gonna move forward. Like, you don't have that destination to where you're gonna end up, right?
Yeah.
And that driving force, right? So, you know, like, so at this point, like, my brother hates me. I mean, both my brothers hate me. You know what I mean? So,
How long ago was this?
I'd say this is probably almost 7 years ago, right? So, I don't know, 6 years. So, but you know, I wrote a letter to my brother when I was in jail, and then he wound up writing me a letter back. And one thing he said, and it's funny because I like have really nice handwriting, right?
Okay.
Like cursive. And,
Nice.
And I wrote this letter to him, and then he's like, the first thing he says is like, "Hey, bro," he's like, "Sorry it took so long for me to write you back." And this always stuck with me, made me laugh, right? He's like, sorry it took me so long to write you back, but he's like, I don't have. He's like, I got chicken scratch writing. I don't have nice writing like you, fag. You know what I mean? So he typed it up on the computer, right?
That's
so
funny.
It's hilarious, right? Just you know, like, I haven't had that feeling like of love from my brother in a long time, because I'm the one that left them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this whole letter, my brother told me, like, you know, I'm 21 years old. I'm gonna be a manager right away. Like, I just bought my first house. I'm doing really good. I made this much money this year. I'm like, man, really? I was like, what am I doing, man? Like, why am I here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, I started thinking about it, and like, after I was I was still doing that. I did it at such a high level in a place where I'm not even from, not knowing anybody.
Right.
Like, I pretty much, like, I don't know, like, I was making so much money, like, and I'm like, man, if I can do this,
Right.
if I can do what I've done and create what I've created here, like, I can do crazier things in the legit side of life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm
If
like,
you just put the energy to something more productive.
100%, right? So I'm like, man, one day I want to own a dealership. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna get there. You know?
Alright.
So
I'm gonna hold you to that. You know that.
I know
right?
that. I know
Okay.
that.
All right. You've said that
I've
now
said
to
that
the world.
To the world, yes.
Okay. The world's watching, bro.
So I just, you know, like that always stuck with me. My brother wanted me to come move back with me. He's like, come work with me, come live with me.
Yeah.
And you know, he's like, you're always there for me when I was younger. Like, you know, whatever happened. And my brother really reached out and showed some love, right? So that's between him and then my girlfriend there at the time. Like, I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, it's like God like pointing me in the right direction, telling me like, again, I'm not a super religious person, but like, you know, like I believe in God. I believe in something like bigger. And you know, like my girlfriend there was like Muslim, and me and her probably would have got married if I would have converted.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I can't convert for those reasons, right?
Right, exactly.
So and I've learned a lot about like Islam, and it's a beautiful religion, man. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, like she is just such a pure heart, and I wound up just one day, I'm just like, you know what, I gotta go. And she didn't want me to go. Like, I broke her heart when I left. You know what I mean? But I had to do what was for me, and the same thing that she was pushing me to do. Even if I went to school there, even if I got a job there, I wasn't really gonna get myself ahead in life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A lot of people were trying to come to Edmonton. You know, there's a lot of money here and a lot of opportunity here,
Right.
and I'm out there, and I'm from Edmonton. I'm like, what am I doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
Right.
So what was it in that kind of turning point for you that kind of shifted you saying, hey, I gotta get out of here?
I just like the baby situation with the person, and then my brother and everything. I was just like, you know what, I'm done.
Right.
I
So it was a
wasn't-
culmination of everything.
And in that industry, like, a lot of people can't just get out of it. You know?
Right.
They're kind of locked into somebody, and there's a lot of fear in there, right? But I never really worked for anybody. I always worked for myself as an entrepreneur. So I put everything down, and I hopped on a Greyhound, and I went back home.
Wow.
And it was hard because I loved my girlfriend at the time, and you know, to this day, me and her still talk. She's like still a really good friend of mine. She just had a baby like 2 months ago, and I'm so proud and happy for her, right? Like, and we always talk. Like, there's been times we don't talk for like a couple months, 3 months or something like that.
Yeah.
But then that love and genuineness is still there. Like, we care about each other, right? So it's like, when you find someone good in your life, someone that has a pure heart, you don't ever let them out of your life. Right?
Yeah.
So I just, that made me come back. So I came back to see my brother, and he looked good. Like, he looked a lot bigger than he was before, and he's doing really good for himself. Had a beautiful house. The house, he was the first owner of the house. It's in a new development area.
Okay, yeah.
And I was so proud of him, man. Like, and I'm just like, man, like, what do I gotta do? So I had situations here, like I had warrants from before out here that I had to deal with. So I'm just like, I'm manning up. I'm going back. I'm gonna deal with it, and no matter how hard it is, I need to be there. So I came back and first weekend we went down to Calgary to go see my auntie and my grandma. That was my dad's mom. She had dementia and she couldn't really remember anything. She was really sick, right? So I went to go see her, and when she couldn't talk or anything like that. But when I went to go see her, she was like looked like she recognized me, trying to say something to me, and like it was just like warming my heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And then literally like 2 weeks later, like I was out in Windsor for 4 years. Okay. Right? And 2 weeks later after that, she passed away. So I was just like,
She was waiting for you to come home, kind of thing.
I don't know. Like I never really. I loved my grandma, but she would always be hard on me, and I never we didn't have a good relationship or anything. I know she loved me, and I loved her, but it was just like we weren't close like that. But it's crazy, man. Like she was there my whole life. She was supportive and loved me and cared for me, and you know what I mean. It was tough. It was just weird timing. It's like something was calling me to come home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then after that, I turned myself in, and just kind of dealt with what I had to do.
How hard was that?
It's surprising it wasn't that hard.
Okay.
Because at this point I've already been through a lot of stuff, and I just whatever I thought I was gonna be going to jail for a while and whatever, and I was there, and then later that night it's like you got bail. I'm like, what? So it's like a crazy feeling, right? So called my brother. My brother came, picked me up, bailed me out. Lived with my brother for a bit, and I couldn't get a job selling cars yet. And that's what I really wanted to do.
Right.
And then I started getting really angry. I'm frustrated that I can't do this and I can't do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if people are telling me you can't do this, you're not ever gonna do that. You have a criminal record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't drive. There's no way you're gonna do this. Right. So I worked with my dad. He installs does flooring, and my brother Eric works with him for the last 10 years, and I worked with them every day, right? So I was working with them and was making decent money, but nothing really crazy. I was maybe getting $1,200 every 2 weeks, or you know what I mean, and
just
never
enough to kind of get by.
Enough to get by. You know what I mean? I was still I want to get ahead. I came from making so much money, and this is what I'm doing. Why am I not doing this? And you know what I mean? But I always reminded myself I have a goal, I have an end purpose, I have a why. I want to prove my family and everybody else in my life that I'm good, and that I'm not this person that I made myself be. And it was a moment. Sorry to keep going back and forth, but
it's fine.
There was a moment when I was in Windsor too, right before I came back, that it was my mom's birthday. And my mom's birthday on the day she died, it's December 13th is when she passed away, so it makes Christmas really hard. And then also her birthday is May 30th, so Mother's Day and the May 30th, that's always a tough time. So I have two really tough times in a year, right? And I would tell I lived in the upper floor of this house. There's this Lebanese kid that lived downstairs, 18 years old. Smart kid, in university, just really wise. He's an old soul, right?
Yeah. And
I'm just talking to him about everything, and he asked me a question. This is one of the things that really changed the way I thought about everything and changed my actions, right? Okay. So he's like, man, have you ever forgiven your mom? And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
That gave me goosebumps.
Right?
Yep.
So, I was like, no, I haven't. And then he's like, maybe you should do that. You know what I mean? And then because I'm always blaming everything on her and this and that, and then I'm kind of just messed up in my head, right? So I forgave my mom. Later that day, that night, I talked out loud. I felt crazy, but I was just like, Mom, you know what I mean? I said what I had to say. You know what I mean? Got everything off my chest, and I truly forgave her, right? So, after that, my whole mind frame started changing, and I felt like I'm doing the wrong thing, this and that. What am I doing? I still have a chance. I'm getting older. I'm 26, I think, at this point. Okay. And I'm I don't want to be 30 and trying to change my life. I'm 40, and now I can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? I need to do something now. Like the urgency is there. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I'm gone. So it's like it was a long process to even get where I'm at now, right? Like just a lot of ups and downs. Like even my own dad, like I love him. He's made me who I am today, but he's telling me he's like, you're lucky to have a job. You know what I mean? And I made me mad. You know what I mean? Like you're lucky to have a job. You can't get a job anywhere else, and this and that. And I was like, okay, watch me.
Watch me.
Yeah, watch me. I'm not giving up.
For sure.
So I quit. And that's when I got a job with you guys. Like
Okay,
when
yeah.
I was working with you and Brandon.
Right,
You
right.
and Brandon Farr. So I'm looking for jobs and I want to be in sales, but I still don't have a license at this point and don't have a car and don't have anything. You know what I mean? Living in my brother's unfinished basement. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and I think that kind of pushed me more. Living in an unfinished basement. Like just like not like my brother had a beautiful place and it's nice when I'm up there, but then like okay, I'm going back down to my dungeon. Like
Right.
it just kind of pushed me to go even harder, right?
Right.
So I was truly grateful to even be like here, you know.
No kidding.
So when I quit, I got a job. I called. Actually, I had an interview with them, with your guys' company,
Yeah.
and they told me it was all the way down. I was in the West End, down by like pretty much far West End, like down by Lewis Estates, River Cree area.
Yeah.
And then I had to come down to Capilano.
That's right.
Right, so
Yeah.
it's a far way to come down,
Yeah,
right?
for
So
sure. It's about a 40-minute drive.
yeah, and I don't
And
drive.
you don't drive.
right?
Yeah.
So it's more of like an hour and 45-minute bus ride.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was embarrassed to be taking the bus. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. But I did what I had to do, and I went to go, and I was walking to go catch the bus, and I missed the bus, and I was like, I cannot be late for this interview. So I'm like running, missed the bus completely. I had $40 left in my pocket,
Yeah.
and I wanted to make sure I made this interview, right? So I just flagged somebody down. I was like, I have no time. I jumped in front of a guy. I was like, hey, stop. like,
Seriously.
Yeah,
Oh
like-
my goodness. I don't think I've heard this story.
no,
man.
no, I don't think I told you this story. So
Wow.
I asked them, I'm like, stop. And then I was like, Kate, I really need help right now, please. They're like, well, I need to get this job. I'm late for a job interview.
Yeah.
Just kind of nice. So I like, not scared. I was like, I have $40 left to my name.
Yeah.
I need to get down to Capilano. They're like, well, I can't get you to Capilano, but I can take you to Westwood tomorrow. I was like, perfect. And they're like, don't worry about it. Like, that's all good.
That's awesome.
This lady drove me to Westwood tomorrow, hopped on a bus, and made it on time for this interview. So it was crazy. I wanted it so bad. You know what I mean?
And somehow, some way,
Yeah.
it happened.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's one of the things with how human beings work.
Yeah.
When we want something so bad, it just ends up working out.
Yeah.
You know, and then the difference between
it's the law of attraction.
it is, yeah, it absolutely is, and I think that's the difference between the average person and a champion is someone who, hey, it hasn't worked out just yet,
Yeah.
right? Like you missed the bus,
Yeah.
it hasn't worked out. You're wanting that job, you're gonna get it,
Yeah.
so you figure out something else, right? And I think that's a philosophy that I think more people should start having.
Yeah.
Is I always get what I want,
Yeah.
right? Because I know what I want.
Yeah.
And I won't stop until I actually get it.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening? I end up getting what I want.
Yeah.
Right? So that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
good.
Cool.
So, doing that, I worked with them for a little while, and then finally, like, I learned a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I love that every morning that we're doing training, hiring new people, like, it's a really high turnover because not everybody can do what we were doing. Like,
Right.
it's
It's true.
tough, right? Like,
It is.
You were doing direct marketing, pretty much like asking people, hey, come check this out.
Yeah.
But we learned different ways to make it fun for people on, like, the 5 steps, like, hook you up, eye contact, all that stuff to, like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, like, you get those people to trust you, and that's really helped me a lot to what I'm doing now.
Right.
Because people, it's easy to, like, be genuine and have people trust you right off the bat, right? And
Right.
that's what you need, like you said, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
You have 5 seconds to gain someone's trust.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep. Exactly.
So, moving from that, I worked there for a little while, and it's one of those kind of jobs like where, you have to build a team. You're not making very much money, like this and that. You got to put the work in, and then, go set up events, take them down,
your
whatever.
dues, yeah.
Pay your dues and build a team, and
Yeah.
and I went through it for a little while, and then finally I had to face the music of my previous things, and I had to go to jail for 3 months, and I did that, and just manning up, doing what I have to do, and then I came back out, and it was quite an experience in there too. You know, it's a little bit better that I was at home and they still didn't know anybody in there, right? And, like I haven't talked to people like that in a long time, right?
Right.
And I don't mean people like that. It's everybody's people. Like I don't know, but
Yeah, careful, man. We don't want to offend anybody.
no, sorry guys, sorry.
Yeah. That's funny.
But that being said, I went through another transformation in my life.
Okay.
Right? So I came home, it was around Christmas time, it was a month before Christmas, and supposedly this business was supposed to be really good around Christmas time, right? And I built a team crazy, like really good people on my team that were doing really well, and I still wasn't making that good of money. And if you had, if you got to like 5 people on your team, you're supposed to be your own owner and start your own business, right? And that's when you start making money, right? So I just felt like I was always almost getting there, and then something would happen, and then almost getting there, and then something would happen, right? Like I don't know. I just went through Christmas and then broke through Christmas. Couldn't buy anybody gifts. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not making very much money at all. Again, struggling. You know what I mean? So I started looking for another job, and I called. I wanted to be in sales, and I called an RV dealership, which was Woody's RV World.
Okay, yeah.
And I called and I talked to the manager, and I was like, hey, like I still didn't have my license back at this point. And I was like, hey, I just want to be very straightforward with you. Like, I want to see, knowing that it's trailers and stuff, I don't have to drive anything. Like, will you guys still hire me without a license? And then he's like, well, talking with him, he's like, I'm actually really interested in meeting with you. You sound really, really good. And I think my confidence, everything from doing what we direct marketing and building that confidence level and being able to control conversation, right? Like, went in for an interview, sat there. It was a long, drawn-out interview for like an hour, and then they asked me at the end, they're like, do you have any more questions? And I was like, at this point, I was like, I didn't know if I was gonna get the job or not, but I was just assuming the sale.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, they're like, you have any questions for us? I was like, yeah. When do I start?
Yeah.
They start laughing.
Yep.
And they're like, that's awesome. You're already assuming the sale. Yeah. Well, we want you to start soon. So I went through that for about a year and learned a lot from them and worked with a group of older sales guys. Elderly, not quite elderly, but like seasoned sales people.
There you go. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, man, don't apologize for who you are. Come on now.
It's the Canadian in me, bro.
It's true, right? It's true.
Sorry. But like they chased a lot of the new guys out, the young new guys. Like, 'cause a lot of people come in with a cocky attitude and whatever, right? But I was just always respectful, and it's a lot from what I've learned, and I want to learn and whatever. And there's this one guy, Perry, that never really talked to anybody. He was the #1 guy for the last 10 years. He's the best and whatever. Really good gentleman, you know what I mean? But nobody can touch him. I'm the best.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's one time where I was standing with my hands in my pocket, right? And he comes up and slaps my hands and get your hands out of your pocket. And I'm like, what? And then my manager said to me, he's like, oh, Perry's actually looking out for you. He doesn't do that for people, right? So whatever, that kind of like, I was like, okay, cool. And I started talking a little bit more here and there, and I was sitting kind of right behind him, and he actually kind of took me under his wing and kind of taught me a lot about it. I thought it was going to be easy. I sold cars before, but it was like easy for me, right? It's a different world.
It's Woody's RV World.
Yeah, it's Woody's RV World. It's no car world.
Yeah.
So, I learned a lot from that too, and it's a lot about slowing everything down. And your customer that you get, you're probably spending a good hour and a half to 2 hours with. They want to go inside and in and out of every single trailer, and they have coffees. They came to just look.
Yeah. Right.
So, I didn't sell anything for almost 2 months. Like they paid you like a minimum wage commission or wage. Yep. So, I learned pretty quick. I knew I was in the last forever, right? So,
absolutely.
I started selling some trailers, and I was making good money. And I was finally like my first big paycheck was like probably like 10 grand. And I'm like, whoa, and then I kind of like jumped the gun, wanted to keep it all the time, and I don't know, I just wasn't like, I learned the value of money from not having it, but then I was not applying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm wasting my money and being done with it, and started making more money and got a little bit smarter with it, and we just slowly it came into like the September, October time, and it started slowing down because it's a very seasonal job. People are only buying mostly in springtime and summer, right?
Yeah.
So it started getting slow, and I was like, you know what? Like I'm almost 30 years old at this point.
Right.
I was 30 years old this morning. I was like, okay, now I'm 30. I knew in my mind, I'm like, I'm not any further ahead than I was before financially.
Right.
But I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot. I've went through a lot. I really wanted to get into car sales, and I was this close to getting my license back. And all I had to do was prove that I went to a course to get it back, and I got my license back, right? So I got a job at St. Albert Dodge, and I always wanted to. I said I wanted to sell cars for my brother, and I didn't really want to work for my brother. You know what I mean? And he didn't want me to work for him. We're living together, but at the end of the day, I didn't want anybody to when I become successful, to say that, oh, it's because you're Brandon's brother, and that's because of my brother or anything like that, right? I wanted to build my own path, and my brother said that to me too. And I was like, you know what, that's true. So I've built this path so far, and just continue to go. And I get anxiety and kind of feel weak at certain points, and be like, Brandon, I need help, but he would never give it to me.
Right.
And it's not that he didn't hate me, he wanted me to learn. You know what I mean? So I look up to my little brother.
That's awesome.
Right? He's one of my whys. And same with my brother Eric. My brother Eric, we had a rough relationship ever since I've been back. He always was mad at me, and I never knew why. But it's all from me leaving and me there's a lot of other reasons, but you know what I mean. This to this day, like me and my brother, like we have a way better relationship now. Me and Eric, like I wake up to a text from him every single morning. He's made a point of doing it, sending me messages like, "Hey bro, I love you, be deadly, have a good day," and I love seeing that, man. It's like, you know when you have a crush on a girl,
Yeah.
and then you wake up and she's like, "Good morning," you're like, "Good morning, babe," you know? Like,
You don't have a crush on your brother, though, right?
No, but it's like you know, we've gone through so much adversity and so much pain and like whatever. And I just want to, you know, I've always wanted to be that big, that influence for my brothers and make them proud.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm finally starting to do that. You know, like it's crazy because, you know, like growing. I look forward to that every day. I love you, bro.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Right on. So where do you see yourself going from here? Because you went from, you know, good relationship with the whole family.
Yeah.
And then things happen, things go down, you go back up, you're back down, and you're going through all of these different, mountains and valleys.
Yeah.
And you know, you've come out the other side now, it seems like, and
Yeah.
you're doing really well for yourself. And
Still got a long way to go, man.
for sure.
Still got a long way to go.
So where is that way to go?
Well, I need to get a dealership, man.
Right
I
on.
need to buy a house. You know, I need to do things that I could have done a long time ago, but I've restricted myself. But I'm pushing past those restrictions, right? So I feel like I've got a lot of that behind me.
Okay.
But I'm not mad at anything that ever happened. Because I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through those struggles and I didn't go through that pain and I didn't go through that, and I wouldn't be able to handle situations how I handle them now. Like, I still don't think I can handle them perfectly. You could have a student mentality, right? Like me and you were talking about on the way over here. Like, you can learn from, me a little bit, and I can learn from you, and you can take something from pretty much anybody that you meet in life, right?
Absolutely.
And if you don't think that you know it all and you're the best at everything, like, yeah, you want to be the best, but there's always somebody better than you. Right?
I mean, where is there to go if you know it all?
Yeah, you're gonna be growing to the day you die.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I just, now I'm like, like I said in the beginning, like, I had a bad month last month. Like, actually, you know what? Last year, this is crazy. So I had this happen last year. So like in July, I wound up. My birthday's in July, so it was like 2 days after my birthday. I was sitting in bed and I had a bowl of hot noodles. I have no filters. I don't care.
No, man, come on. This is awesome.
I'm like sitting there like, and I have a bowl of noodles and have my legs crossed on it. I've done this ever since I was a kid, but I put it on like a big plate so it didn't like spill or anything, right?
Okay.
So I had it on a smaller plate for some reason, and I didn't have any big plates at Walk Clean or something.
Okay.
So I'm like, the remote control's just out of my reach. So I'm holding the plate, trying to reach back and being lazy.
Right.
I went to go grab it, let go real quick, and I spilled blistering hot water all over my foot and my shin, and like I was sitting cross-legged, so I couldn't really get up quick,
Right.
So.
Yeah.
It was like burnt for like 4 or 5 seconds, and like the noodles, they have like a lot of salt in it.
That's right.
Being hot water and everything, so it burnt me bad, man. It's almost 3rd-degree burns.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's like the whole top of my foot.
Oh my goodness.
And it was like, man, I was like, ran to the shower, hopped in, turned the cold water on, standing there, and then I was like, okay, it's all good. And then I kept trying to get out, and it would burn more, burn more. So I was like, I was in and out of the tub for like 7-8 hours.
Oh my goodness.
I just didn't want anything to do, and like I was almost passing out from like the pain and like the shock, right?
Yeah.
So I finally got to sleep, and I woke up in the morning. I had a big blister on my foot. The whole foot was blistered like crazy.
Wow.
Like, I don't know, man. So I didn't have any money for cab, bus, anything. I lived downtown at the time, and I walked about 30 blocks to the hospital
Wow.
off the burnt foot.
Wow.
Got there, got in pretty quick. I was actually surprised, and then the doctor just told me, he's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna drain it, we'll wrap it up, you're fine. Go home. I'm like,
Wow.
no. So like I don't know, I was like, okay, cool. So I did, went back home, wrapped it up, and then I went to work the next day. So I'm not giving up.
Yeah, right, yeah, no kidding.
So
No setbacks,
I walked around all day, like everything was all good,
Yeah.
and like this is like the day after the day, right? So I'm walking around, and then I walked around, and then I went to like some barbecue house party at night, walked around. Then I went to get up the next morning. I went to a step, I fell down.
Oh, no.
I could not even put any pressure on my foot, right?
Sure.
I was getting infected.
Yeah.
Right, so I went to the back there, and I'm like, this is not right. This is what the guy told me. They put me on some pain medications, had to scrub my foot. It was crazy. And then I went to University Hospital. They sent me to the burn clinic there,
unit,
and
yeah.
I heard they're amazing there. Which, God bless the lady there. I forgot what her name was, but she was like that no bullshit, like just raw person that's just like, no, this is gonna hurt you. So like, just suck it up. You know what I mean? But I had to go there every morning, get it clean, and I had no way to get there, and like, you know what I mean? I had no one really helping out, and you know, I got a ride here and there, but like I was like taking the LRT on crutches, and you know what I mean, doing that, and then I'd take a cab from there to work every day, and I was going and crushing around work and trying to do everything. I sold 0 cars that month. 0 cars. So the next month I did a little bit better. I made some money in my deals, so I like, you know, I only sold 4 the next month. But the next month I just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
I sold 17 cars that month.
Good for you, man.
It was probably the best month, the most memorable month, especially after everything, dude. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
I like, you know, like I've had a really good year this year so far. It's been 2 years. I'm getting a lot of repeat referral business, just genuinely from helping people.
Yeah.
And I had a lot going on. Sold 2 cars last month, and I'm the 23rd. I'm at 7.5 now, and I still got a lot of months left. Because you know, there's been 3 or 4 months in the last 3 or 4 months where I'd be like 1 or 2, and I'd finish with 10, and within the last week.
And now
Just
you're at 7.5.
because I get that from my story. I'm glad I shared my story with you guys, so you can get that. Like, I've been faced with death. I've been faced with, you know, being homeless on the street. I've been faced with, if you don't do this, this happens. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like, I did that like 3 or 4 months in a row, and it was crazy, right? Like, I was like, okay, cool. And then I kind of expected that to happen again last month, and I was working hard, and I was writing deals, but they weren't all sticking. You know what I mean? So like, and I'm just like, at the end of the month, I'm like, what happened?
Right.
You know? So I knew I had to change something, right? So that's you need to always, you can't get complacent. It's about consistency, especially in sales, consistency, right? Finding something that works and always working on it, always improving it, and staying, so like working when you get there. Like I literally get to work. I start work at 8:45 in the morning, and I get to work at like 7:30 in the morning. And people are always like, "Why are you coming so early?" But my manager is there like 7:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning, and he doesn't need to be, but he's there and he's working hard. He's the hardest worker I've ever seen. You know what I mean? So I always try to make it a goal to try and beat him there.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And work even harder. And like I was doing that. Like I was coming there. I wasn't really at one point wasn't doing anything when I got there that early. I was like, I'm early. I'm gonna do good.
Right.
Just expecting it to follow. But I think I have ADHD or something like that, because I need to, like, you know, I'm all over the place. I can remember things, but not at the right time. It could be too late or whatever, right? So I write everything down. You know, like I write a gratitude list in the morning, right? I write what I'm grateful for. I write, you know, even things that I don't have. Like I'll write that I'm grateful for. You know, I'm grateful that I own a home. I'm grateful that I'm a manager. I'm grateful that, you know what I mean, and eventually those things will become a reality. I actually started this exercise. One of my managers, Matt McLean, actually works with Bob Proctor.
Oh, okay.
Right? So he would share a lot of this stuff with me, and whenever I'm going through tough times, he would make me think differently, right?
Right.
And he he asked me to do this exercise, and it's about like writing everything down in your life that makes you mad. You know, like that you don't like, things that just get it all out on paper and just look at it and whatever, and then as a symbolic thing, burn the piece of paper,
Burn it up, yeah.
and just burn all that stuff out of your life, and then start writing down the things that you do like about yourself, and the things that you do want in your life, right? And I think that's very powerful. Like, like there's a lot of different things you can do. You can listen to different motivational speakers or whatever, and I think it's worked for me. Like, the funny thing is, when I burnt it, I still have this little piece of, I have a whiteboard at home, and then I have me and my brothers and sisters when I was a kid on there, and then I have a little sister that's 13 now.
Okay.
And she's actually born on Halloween too. Cool, right?
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Right? So everybody just I think she's turning 14. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I have them on my board, and then I have written out like what I want. Like, I wrote down $1 million on my board. Like, I want to get to that $1 million.
Right.
And then on top of that, I wrote down like, family, and then humble, success, and it's just all things that I wake up every morning and I see it, right? Okay. So this little piece that was left from it being burnt up, it said trust the process, which I thought was pretty cool, man.
And it didn't burn.
And it didn't burn.
So a little bit of a sign for you.
Right? So it's just like, it's crazy. Like, everything in life has a process. Like, there's a sales process that I wasn't following last month, and I didn't succeed. So like, even looking at that, like, I'm like, just trust the process. You know what I mean? Just keep going with the process, and you got to keep like, I'm gonna bring Jerry Joseph up again. So, the guy that gave me this quote that I shared earlier. He told me something earlier this month about momentum. That's something he learned from somebody else. Like, momentum is like pushing a boulder up a hill.
Right.
You got to keep going, pushing, and keep pushing.
Okay.
That moment you stop, that boulder's coming back down, and you got to restart and re-push it back up the hill. Right. So just once you get that momentum going, you keep pushing, and it gets easier. Right. So
because once you get to the peak,
yeah.
then it goes on its own.
Yeah. It's crazy, eh?
It is, man. So to kind of wrap up here, what's one thing that you would kind of tell yourself, or teach me something, or teach the next generation? The one thing out of everything that's going on in your life that has helped you shift to become the person you are today? Like, what was it? A story? Was it a quote? What is it? What's that one thing, that piece of knowledge that makes Chad?
Always be genuine. Okay. I said it already in here, but just be yourself. Like, genuinely want to help people, help the right people, and like, just trust the process, man. Like, just never give up. Like, there's always a solution to find solutions. Don't complain about problems. You know what I mean? Be positive. Like, you're gonna think whatever your thoughts are, you're gonna bring that into your life.
Yeah.
Like, just trust the process and just never give up. Like,
so be genuine.
yeah.
Be kind.
Yeah. There's
Trust
more than
the
one thing.
process.
There's more than one thing.
Never give up.
Yeah.
So those four things for you. That's who Chad is.
Trust, and the fifth one, just trust your why. Always have your why. Like, I'll show you guys something. Like, on my phone, I put actually, this is my whiteboard right here. So I don't know if you guys can see that.
Might have to get a little closer in.
So yeah, that's my whiteboard.
Nice.
So this is my next thing, what I want to get. So every time I open my phone, I get distracted. I have a picture of the house I want to buy. It's a duplex,
Nice.
and it's here in St. Albert. So it just reminds me about what I'm doing, right? So
Absolutely.
Your why. Always remind yourself of your why.
Cool.
So,
Right on, man. Well, thanks so much for coming to sit down for the first episode of Coffee Shop Conversations.
thanks for thinking about me.
Absolutely, man. It was great to kind of catch up and kind of talk about life a little bit here. And I've we worked for a little while together, and a lot of the stuff that you talked about, I never got a chance to actually get to know you the way that we got to know each other tonight. And this has been an absolute honor, a blessing. This is really cool. You've taught me a lot tonight as well, and I hope you guys kind of took something away from this, and there's some good value for you as well. And I'm looking forward to see where your journey ends up, man.
We'll have to catch up soon.
Absolutely, for sure.
Part 2.
That's right, exactly. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.